So welcome, Sam.
Oh, thank you. I've been so looking forward to swapping some stories and insights with you and your community.
Me too. And I was just telling Sam off air for my listeners that I've wanted Sam on for so long, and I've kept putting it off, going, oh, Sam's too busy, Sam's too busy, and going so much against everything that I talk about, and having that realization that, man, Karen, you got to walk the talk. So I just said to Sam, hey, you want to come on the podcast? She said, absolutely. So that might be a good lesson for me, but also for everyone else listening. Jump in, and the worst that can happen is they say no, and then you don't take it personally, and then you move on. So here we are. Thank you, Sam.
Let's just go there for a second because it is, I'll tell you a story that doubles down on what you're saying is that there was a woman years ago in a workshop, and she had been to Maui Writers Conference when I had asked Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul, as one of our speakers. And she'd had a chance to talk with Jack at dinner and so forth, and he really liked her book idea. And he said, when it's time for an endorsement, get in touch and I'll look at the book and maybe give you an endorsement. And I said, so did you reach out to Jack about your book? She said, oh no, he didn't mean it. And I said, wait a minute, back.
Yep.
Jack doesn't say anything he doesn't mean. And she said, well, why? I'm not famous. Why would he want to give me it? And she had talked herself out of the deal.
Yep.
She had been given this opportunity, and instead of welcoming the opportunity, honoring the opportunity, acting on the opportunity, she had taken herself out of the opportunity.
Yep.
And isn't it interesting how often we do that instead of just saying, would I like this? Yes. Okay. Am I going to ask for it? Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We do it all the time. I still do it. Like I've just explained that I do it. And I tell people never do that, but we're not very good at taking our own advice, are we?
And another story, because I think this is so much in alignment with what you and I really believe, is that I have a very good friend, and she won't mind me telling her name because she tells this story, Mary Loverty. Mary Loverty is a Hall of Fame speaker, is one of Oprah's favorites, etc. Now, she had grown up with 5 brothers, and she was there when all the girls would call and want to speak to her brothers, and they would be going, not home, not home. So she promised herself she would never ask a man out. Well, now fast forward, about 40 years, and she'd gone through a divorce, and her a good friend had introduced her to this United captain out of Denver, and they went out on a date, and they were really compatible. They really liked each other, but he's flying all the time. She's flying all the time on keynotes. And so months went by and they didn't see each other, but she was having a book launch. Now, this was at a writer's retreat that I had been at, and everyone was saying, Mary, ask him to your book launch, because you're going to tell in one day, does he get jealous or envious if you're in the spotlight? How does he get along with your friends? Is he comfortable and secure, etc.? But she was not going to ask him because she had vowed to herself 40 years ago that she would never ask a man out, right?
Yeah.
And my son, Andrew, was there. And I said, all right, Mary, I said, let's ask Andrew for his opinion. Sound good? And Andrew looked at her. And now, please understand, Karen, this conversation had gone on for about 20 minutes. Should she, shouldn't she, should she, should she? Andrew looked at her and he said, would you like him there? Mary said, yes. Andrew said, ask him. She asked him. They're married. They're very happy together. And it was because instead of once again, indulging in doubts and fears and all of that, no, ask.
Yeah. Well, I asked you, Sam. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Here we are.
And for the listeners, I don't know why I would have even had the hesitation, because Sam and I go back a long way, quite a few years, and we've talked many times, and we have a great friendship, great relationship. But you know what? You know how you just I don't know, Sam. What a dickhead! I'm a dickhead. But anyway, I love being a dickhead. I know you don't tell me off because I'm just playing with you. I would like to introduce, just so that everyone knows who you are. So Sam is the CEO of the Intrigue agency, which is a positioning agency, helps you to work out pitches and to really establish yourself as a one-of-a-kind brand. She's also the CEO of the Tung Fu Training Institute. She's the author of 10 books. And her newest book is Talking on Eggshells. We'll talk about some of the books in here. She's spoken to more than 500,000 people worldwide, and she was the executive director and the MC for the Maui Writers Conference for 17 years. And there's so much more that I could say about Sam, but she's one of a kind as far as positioning yourself. And I did reach out to Sam, I think it was in 2020, to say, can you please help me fine tune? And I feel like I'm a jack of all trades. I'm all over the shop. And later in this podcast, I want to talk about jack of all trades, because I have come to realize that it is an absolute blessing. Now I will actually read out your books, because I think that even the titles might just interest people. Tung Fu at School, Have I Got Your Attention? It's just called Got Your Attention, but it's great. Ideapreneur, Take the Bully by the Horns, Concentrate, What's Holding You Back, Someday Is Not a Day in the Week, Pop, so how does your message pop out? And the latest one is Talking on Eggshells. And just for the listeners who are watching on I hate these backgrounds because you can't say pop. I've got pop, and I've got that many damn bookmarks in it, and I've got Some Days Not a Day of the Week, and I've got Tung Fu, and I've got Your Attention. I haven't got all of them, but boy, I've got some, and they are bloody fabulous books. Now, I'm going to shut up and let you talk, Sam.
Well, why don't we jump ahead to what you said we were going to talk about later, and we'll talk about it now. And this idea of being a jack of all trades,
all right.
It's because I know your listeners, some of them are entrepreneurs and business owners, and some work for government, and some work in organizations, etc. This works for careers, whether we have our own business or whether we're actually multi-talented and working for a company. Sound good?
Yep.
Okay. And so often what I find is we're told to pick a lane. And I understand that, if you chase two rabbits, you don't catch none. You have to be a specialist, you can't be a generalist. So I understand the logic behind that, the rationale and the wins of that. I just have a different point of view about it, that, I had an opportunity on Father's Day a few years ago to go to see a Leonardo da Vinci exhibit. And the docents dressed in costumes of the era. They even used the dialect of the day. In fact, they would talk about Leonardo as if they just had a drink, a beer with him at the pub. Yeah. And they walked us through the Mona Lisa exhibit, and they walked us through the human anatomy exhibit, and they walked us through the flight exhibit. And I just kept thinking, what if someone had told Leonardo da Vinci to pick a lane?
Yeah.
He was this multi-talented guy. And as you mentioned, Tung Fu, is that I wrote Tung Fu more than 20 years ago. And Karen, it was an empire, it's like I trademarked the word. You can merchandise that word. You can niche it, like Jack Canfield has done with Chicken Soup for the Nurse's Soul, Chicken Soup for the Teacher's Soul. I did that for a while. I certified people. And so I could have done that for my entire life and really scaled that business, and it would have been a very good career.
Yeah.
I wanted to move on. I wanted to write about pop. I wanted to write about Someday. I wanted to write about Got Your Attention. And so I call this a Renaissance career. And to me, it's been incredibly satisfying to follow my curiosity and see what calls me and have the freedom to explore it instead of having blinkers on and sticking to my lane. So Karen, what do you think?
I 100% agree with you. This riches in the niche, the riches are in the niches, all this, we call them niches in Australia, but anyway, well, let's go with it. And I remember, watching a lot of influential type people really hammering at home. You've got to pick a lane. You've got to decide what you want to do. You've got to become, like you say, build an empire around that thing. And I used to punish myself so much. It used to be like, but I really love this and I really love that. And and I'm good at this and I'm great at that. And it was you that said to me, Karen, don't worry about it. You know, what makes you happy? And I distinctly remember you saying, well, what makes you happy? And I'm like, all of it. You're like, well, pick one now and then move on to the next. Do the next. What doesn't matter? And it's, I do want to clarify something though. When you're saying pick a lane, I do tell people to stay in their lane. And what I mean by that is not about as far as your work goes, you know, or your passion or your whatever you think your purpose is stay in your lane, as in just know where you're going and focus on what you're doing next. Like as if you're swimming and each stroke, you know, to the end of the 5 kilometers or whatever you're doing, and stop wandering over into everybody else's lane, worrying about whether they're saying something about you or whether you're competing with them, or just go, stay there and just go hell for leather to wherever you're going. And if you get diverted and you do a bit of backstroke and you do a bit of freestyle and doggy paddle, who cares what you do in your lane? So I kind of say it's a different sort of scenario context. Does that make sense to you?
It really does. And, you know, William Blake said, we are here to create, not to compare or compete.
Yes.
And I remember you had mentioned the writers' conference, and I remember a woman telling me that she got depressed every time she went into a bookstore because she would see all these best-selling authors on her topic, and she would say, well, I don't have a PhD. Well, I'm not as famous as them. I'll never get that. And she would really depress herself, comparing herself to all these other people, competing with all those other people. Yeah. So I really hear about one interpretation of what you're saying is that when we stay in our lane, when we believe something matters, when we believe we have something to contribute there, when we believe we have something to offer there, is instead of being pulled, you know, here and there by those comparisons and competitions, is to stay true to what it is we're here to offer.
Exactly. Yes. And to all the distractions that are poo-pooing us and criticizing us. Actually, as you were saying that, I thought, yeah, the key word there is your purpose. And I hate it when people think my purpose is to be a photographer. My purpose is to be a teacher. My purpose is, I always say your purpose is, what the hell are you getting up for every day? And it's to make a difference. You know, that's my purpose. And I don't really care what vehicle I use, what vehicle I'm driving in to get there. That's what I want to, and that's my lane. My lane is, am I making a difference or am I not? And if I am, stay in the making a difference lane and get the hell out of all these other lanes that are pulling me off my target. Just stay away from them. I love it. And you know what? I look around because I live on a little farm, 11 acres, and I do everything. Like I do all the work on here. The only thing I can't do, I don't have a tractor to dig post holes, and we've got rocks under, so I do get a tractor in and get a fencing guy. But I've built all the sheds. I just do everything myself. All the electrics. I shouldn't say that publicly, but all the plumbing, that sort of stuff. And it's I often think. And also with the get off the bench stuff, people give me their ideas and then I can straight away land exactly where they are. And I think if I wasn't a jack of all trades, I would never be able to so quickly understand so many concepts, you know, and just grasp them so damn quick. So I love being a jack of all trades, and I don't give a sweet toss who doesn't like it. I love it.
You know, Karen, you really got to come out of your shell and just say how you feel it. You're just a breath of fresh air because there's no hidden agenda. You know, it's you know, a version of that, because I grew up in a very small town, more horses than people, and at part of that time we moved out to a ranch, and I remember it is like. This was before cell phones. My sister and I would be gone riding our horses all day, like when we were 8 and 9 years old. And our parents did not worry. And they did not caution us, oh, be careful, you know. It's like bridle breaks, figure it out. Get bucked off, figure it out. And that has really, a reporter once asked where I got my confidence. And I said, on the back of a horse. Yeah. Because you really do learn, instead of worrying something might go wrong. No, things are going to go wrong. And you can figure them out when they do.
Exactly. I used to do that too. We used to take our bikes and we were gone. And Mum would lock us out of the house at 9 o'clock in the morning. Get out. Don't come back till dark. And if you want a drink, you can turn on somebody's tap. And we did, and we only ever came home for a sandwich or something, and then it was get out, and my mum was a great mum, but it was kind of like, wow, did we build some skills and resilience and resourcefulness, like I think today I think of young people, I think, can't you figure it out? Like, why can't you just put the nuts and bolts together and just work this out? But anyway, that's been a bit judgmental, isn't it?
A quick thought about that is that, especially because I know many of your community members, listeners, viewers, and so forth, once again, are managers and supervisors. And I really think that it's never too late to teach this. It's my son, Andrew, started a nonprofit called Dreams for Kids in Washington, D.C. And he had a manual, and this was for his employees and for his volunteers. One of the rules was like no gossiping. It's like, nope, we don't do that here, folks. It's like if you don't like what someone's doing, you talk to them about it. You don't go behind their back, and badmouth.
Yeah.
And another of his policies was that you could not come to him and ask a question like, I can't figure this out, or like, I'm at an impasse, or, well, I didn't turn that in because I didn't know how to. If you asked him a question, you would have to show that you had Googled it and tried to find the answer and figure it out. So see, Karen, he was teaching them resourcefulness instead of like, oh yeah, well, I didn't finish it because, I couldn't figure it out, or, well, this broke. It's like, did you Google it? Did you, it's like, so I think resourcefulness can be taught.
Yeah, I do too. Isn't it funny about Google? I was thinking about that only last night. I was thinking about Google, how all the young people, like that, everything is at their fingertips. If they can't figure out, well, what are you doing? Because we had to learn by failure after failure after, oh, that doesn't fit. That doesn't work. Oh, shit, I just crashed my bike again. Something didn't work. And by the way, you say I'm a breath of fresh air, and I tell it as I'm being quite mild, Sam. I normally would have said shit instead of sweet.
You're cleaning it up here.
That's called respect, no? I love you. Now, what I want to talk about, it's not one of your books, but one of your favorite sayings is what to say when every second counts. And one of the things that you teach is how to do a fast pitch. And this podcast's not about pitches, but it is about, there's people who are wanting to get off the bench in every single way, projects or start a new job, build some confidence, whatever they're wanting to do. And they do fluff around with a lot of and and talk, and by the time they've finished their, I'm not sure, blah, 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 they've kind of lost everybody, but I know myself, when someone just comes to you with one hell of a punch, even if it takes you back, you think, well, wow, okay, you've got me. So why is it so important that every second counts?
Well, you and I are both pragmatists. So actually, we're going to show people right now, okay, how to hit the ground running, because this clock starts ticking the second we start talking. So unless people are driving, I hope they get paper and pen right now, all right?
Am I getting paper and pen too?
You bet. In fact, we can do this for something you care about, Karen, in real time. So, okay. Now, you know me in juxtaposing. People say, Sam, how does your brain work? I juxtapose everything. I think it is the quickest way to make complex ideas crystal clear. So put a vertical line down the center of your paper.
Yeah.
Over on the left, put infobesity. Infobesity. Want, 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 want.
Yeah.
Over on the right, put intrigue.
Yeah.
Over on the left, put explain. Over on the right, put ask. So I'm going to ask everyone right now, think of something. It could be a staff meeting. It could be that you want to start your own business. It could be that you want to write a book. It could be that you want funding for your cause, okay? So you're going to be pitching to a decision maker. Someone is going to say, yes, I'll support that. Yes, I'll hire you. Yes, I'll buy that. Yes, I'll fund that, right? So everyone be thinking of what they're going to say in their first 60 seconds.
Yep.
Now I'll give the story, and then we're going to unpack it. It's, I think you know that I was the pitch coach for Springboard Enterprises. We've helped women entrepreneurs generate $36 billion in funding and valuation. I know.
Wow. So, that's a B. billion, not million.
That's a B. So one of my clients, Kathleen Callender, came to me. She said, I got good news and I got bad news. I said, what's the good news? She said, I'm pitching in front of a room full of investors. I said, that's great news. What's the bad news? She said, I'm going at 2:30 and I only have 10 minutes. She said, Sam, you can't say anything in 10 minutes. I said, Kathleen, you don't have 10 minutes. You have
60 seconds.
60 seconds, right? Okay, yep. So here's what she said. And then afterwards, we're going to unpack it so that everyone watching or listening will know what they're going to say in their 60 seconds when they make that request or recommendation, okay?
Yep.
So she said, did you know there are 1.8 billion vaccinations given every year? Did you know up to a third of them are given with reused needles? Wow. Did you know we're spreading and perpetuating the very diseases we're trying to prevent? Wow. Imagine if there were a painless one-use needle for a fraction of the current cost. You don't have to imagine it. We're doing it, and she's off and running. Karen, are your eyebrows up?
Well, they were when you said reuse needles. I was like up and down and shit.
Okay. So now over on the left, explain. This is Kathleen Callender, PharmaJet. And when people used to ask what is PharmaJet, she would explain that PharmaJet was a medical delivery device for subcutaneous inoculations. It's a what? It's a, you know, those eyebrows are crunched up. Everyone right now, crunch up your eyebrows. Do you feel confused? Yeah. Confused people don't say yes, right? Yeah. So we don't want to explain our idea or our project or product because people be confused. So over on the right, step number 1, ask. 3, did you know questions about the problem you're solving, about the issue you're addressing, about the need you're meeting? So I'm asking everyone right now, after the podcast, go to Google and just put into search, what are surprising statistics about this problem, this industry, this demographic, this issue, etc. The goal is to come up with something recent that even you don't know. If you think, oh, I didn't know it was that bad. Oh, I didn't know that many people were being affected. Oh, I didn't know it took that long. Oh, I didn't know it cost that much. Do you see how instead of explaining, we are asking relevant questions that people go, oh, eyebrows up. That means they're intrigued, they're curious, all in the first 15 seconds.
Yep.
Ready for steps 2 and 3?
Yep.
Okay, next step, use the word imagine. Because the word imagine pulls people out of their preoccupation. They're not distracted. They're picturing your point. They're seeing what you're saying. Now, link imagine, still step 2, with 3 benefits of your product, 3 advantages of your service, 3, wins of whatever it is you're proposing or recommending.
Yeah.
And now come down to step 3, and these are the exact words. You don't have to imagine it. We're doing it. Now you come in with your precedents and your evidence. Now you come in with your testimonial. Now you come in with a product demonstration. Now you come in with, and do you see how in 60 seconds you turn a monologue into a dialogue?
Yeah.
You have asked people so they're engaged, they're picturing this. And then once again, you come in with like where this is already successful or getting results so that this isn't just some sweeping empty claim. This is a done deal and they want to hear more.
I absolutely love it. I thought you were going to try and make me unpack mine. I thought, oh shit, Sam, I'm distracted right now talking to you. We are that is so. It's a bit of work, but it's not. It's actually like intriguing work. So if I were to go and do that, I would be like, it's not hard work. It's not work where I think, oh my God, this is a chore. It would actually keep me on the edge of my seat, researching all this stuff and looking for all this stuff for my stuff, for me to be able to present it. So I absolutely love that. And that is so simple that anybody can do that. And I know I was thinking about that website called Ask the People, But no, that's not really that relevant. Don't worry about it. Do you know that? Do you know that one? Ask.
So let's go right to where you're saying, because Karen, when people are asking for money for their startup or something like that, they'll go and they'll pay some branding agency $10,000-$20,000 to do their PowerPoint slide, and it's all infobesity.
Yep.
It's all crowded, it's all explanation, it's all graphs. People, investors have seen those before, and they're just thinking, okay, how much longer? When can I get out of here?
Yep.
So you just ask yourself, what's on the line here? Is there a business opportunity? Is there, are they going to fund my cause? Am I going to get the job or the contract? Because everyone else is once again over there explaining, wah, 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 wah. If you put in the time on this, and by the way, you said it's time, sometimes in workshops, right in the room, I'll say, get out your laptops, and we have 50 people doing different things. I say, just put into search, what are surprising statistics? And in 60 seconds, people going, wow, I didn't know. Wow, and now you just link them. Did you know this? No, I didn't. Imagine, if you didn't have to be that bad, if it didn't have to take that long, if it didn't have to cost that much. Well, you don't have to. And honestly, I've helped people come up with this opening in 5 minutes, and they have said it went from something not succeeding, from being a failure, from getting a no, to like, let's talk. When can we meet? How many can we buy? When can we sign up? Yeah. So the question is, do you want to succeed? Yep. Invest the time in this.
I agree. And also, I was just thinking, as you're saying that, I must say that you do this. Like you are a consultant, and you're not one of these ones that are designing PowerPoints and long-winded crap. It's not that, like, I've worked with Sam and I know it. I'm going to 100% recommend Sam. Just work with it. And she makes you go bang, 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 bang. And you come out with some amazing stuff. Like Sam will have your copy written for you in an hour. Like, it's amazing, amazing stuff. So I highly recommend you, Sam. I highly recommend. And I talk about you on so many podcasts. I reckon, okay, I reckon I'm going to be conservative and reckon I've probably spoken about you on at least 10 and brought you up. So you're one of my team mentors, and I just think you're bloody wonderful. Anyway, this isn't about singing your praises, because I do that anyway. You're bloody wonderful. But what was I going to say? If we, how you're saying about 60 seconds to get their attention, if we lose that, do we get a second chance? Like, what happens when we lose people?
What a very good question is that. Okay, I think we can do a couple things. If we notice that people are not paying attention, it's not their fault, and maybe this is, 4:00 in the afternoon, they're tired. Maybe they work 2 jobs. Maybe they have a baby at home that's crying all night, whatever. It's our responsibility. So please note, it's not their fault. It's our responsibility to make it worth it for them to give us their time and mind. So do you want to know one of my favorite techniques on how to do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. So would you like to learn how to tell like a 60-second story?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got me a bit of paper. I don't think my little bit of notepad's big enough. But anyway.
Okay. Because what many people do is they use statistics, right? Now, I just talked about statistics, and they can be used in the form of a question, recent statistics, startling, that get people's eyebrows up. Yeah. Now we're going to add to the statistics, because we want head and heart. We want left brain and right brain, right? So we want logic and emotion. Yeah. So go ahead and use statistics. Now balance it with a story. Now, let me tell you my favorite story about this. And then I really do want to think, what's something coming up you care about, Karen? And let's figure out a 60-second story you can tell about it. Sound good? Because over on the left is rhetoric. Over on the right is real life. Over on the left is statistics. And over on the right is stories. So I believe in statistics. However, some people only use statistics, right? It's graphs, it's grids, it's numbers, it's whatever. That's really soulless, right? There's no humanity over there. There's numbers, there's no humanity. We want to put the humanity back into our communication. So here's the story, and then we're going to work on yours. I was reading the Washington Post, and here is a story by Vedantam. And Shankar Vedantam, and he tells a story about an oil tanker that caught fire, and a cruise ship happened to be going by and was able to rescue the 11 people on board. Well, the captain gave a press conference, and he talked about how grateful he and his crew were to be rescued. All he could think about was his dog, Hocket, that got left behind on that tanker.
Oh.
That press and people around the world, Karen, had that reaction. Donations started pouring in. That press conference went viral. Here come donations, $5, $500, $5,000. Is that they changed the exercise area of the Pacific Fleet to search 50,000 square miles for that drifting tanker. They found it. They sent a C-130 to fly low to see if there's any signs of life. Here's this brown and white blur racing up and down the deck of the tanker. They mount a $250,000 rescue mission to get this dog, and they are able to safely rescue Hocket. But now here's the question. Why did people from around the world mobilize to save one dog when there's thousands of people in their own cities and states and countries going without food, water, and shelter? It's because of something called the empathy telescope. And the empathy telescope says we can put ourselves in the shoes of one person. We cannot put ourselves in the shoes of thousands. We can put ourselves in the shoes of an individual or a dog. We cannot put ourselves in the shoes of an idea or an organization. So if we're trying to win buy-in to what we're talking about and we're just trotting out statistics, in the end, people won't care. If we want people to care, we share a real life, true story of one individual who had a challenge, and they hired our company. They bought our product. They dealt with our service. They read our book. And that one person is now better off because people can put themselves in the shoes of one person, relate to one person that they cannot relate to many. So what is something you care about, Karen? And let's figure out a 60-second dog on the tanker story.
Well, I care about animal welfare. I'm huge on that. And I really care about climate change, and something that's been getting, I'm not, this isn't something I'm going to act upon just very quick in the near future, but it's something I really am thinking about. Is I'm watching a lot of organizations around the world doing tree planting events, or like I don't know, anyway, events we'll call them. And I don't know that there's a story that's a touching emotional story, but I keep seeing these things, and I keep thinking about I keep feeling like I can't do anything about climate change because it's so big. And then I keep thinking I could help people plant trees. I could actually do that because I'm understanding that it's good for the environment. That's what I'm reading from experts. So I don't know. I feel like I've given you a bit of a loose cannon there.
No. NASA hired me to come in and work with their climate change scientist. Yep. And once again, over on the left, so we have climate change and all of the things that are happening. Now, here's why they hired me. The scientists were being accused of spreading fake news. They were being questioned, and they're going like, no, we're scientists. We don't make things up. My son is an engineer at NASA, and I don't, you just don't question someone's data or research or facts. It's like, let's give you evidence. And so Number one, they were coming out with, now listen, look at the dog on the tanker, the empathy telescope, as you just said, and this was part of my work with them. When we trot out all these numbers about all the things that are going to happen in the future, it's far away, right? It's like it's easy to procrastinate because that's 10 years from now. And I'm concerned with I'm going through a divorce, or I can't make payroll, or, I've got a health challenge or whatever. So it's not top of mind and top of heart. It seems so big, so overwhelming, so far off. It's rhetoric, the numbers can't reach us.
Yeah.
So over on the right, look at you. You felt helpless and you said, I can do something. I can do something for our town. I can do something for our community. I can put a date on the calendar. I can put up flyers in my community. I can buy the seeds. I can provide the shovels. I can get 5 people there. And at the end of the day, do each of us feel that we have done something to help? Have we solved climate change? No, we have not solved climate change. Did we do something today that could help, that we feel good about, that matters for our small town? You bet. Yeah. And see, that's how people go, all right, I can relate to that. I can do that, instead of just shrugging, feeling helpless, hopeless, overwhelmed, and opting out.
And I think that is so true. And I say that all the time, because I used to be a world saver. I used to be, I want to save the world. I have to do bigger and better, and I've got to save the world. And then once I realized that I need to be the master, and I'm not talking about jack of all trades, master of none or one. Oh, something I want to say on that. But I need to be the master of my jigsaw piece. And so if we all understand what our jigsaw piece is, that's our skills, our talents, our passions, and all the stuff. If we just do the very best we can do with that jigsaw piece, and everyone just does theirs, eventually all the bits get put in. But we're too busy focusing on exactly staying out of our lane and focusing on all the other bits of the puzzle that we can't bloody fix. If we just focus on our one piece, that's we can do that. We can do that. And I remember when I was in Hawaii one year, and this was 25 years ago, it was in Haleiwa, and I went into a little shop, and one of those gift shops, and there's the little cards, and I picked up this card, and it had a bit more writing on it, but one part of that writing was, I am only one, yet still I am one. And then it said something about, and today I will do what my one can do, or something. I can't remember the little bit, but I always remember that I'm only one, but still I am one. And that has never left me in 25 years. And I'm so big on that jigsaw piece. It's have I just told you a story that you love?
Guess not only that, we have your next book.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay. Karen, get a fresh, me, fresh piece of paper, ink it when you think it, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm serious. Grab a fresh piece of paper.
Oh, no, but is this little one big enough?
That's big enough, you bet. And now Karen and I know this is that I'm constantly listening for what pops out. What is the next? What, in addition to what you're currently doing, is a commercially viable, congruent, compelling, opportunity to add to your repertoire. So we mock up a book cover. So write on your notes, put like a rectangle, a book, okay?
Yep. Okay.
On your notes.
Yep.
Drop a cover.
Yep.
And anyone who's thinking about writing a book, use this book cover test to see if you look at it and you go, I would buy that. I would write that. Yes. Okay. In the upper right-hand corner, put a couple of squiggly lines. That's your cover endorsement.
Yep.
Now, I believe in titles on an upslant, because titles on a horizontal just sit on a page. They don't engage. Titles at about a 45-degree angle, you look at it and it kind of looks like it's going to be an upbeat read. It's an energizing, uplifting book. Yep. So put your pin about a third of the way down on the left column. So we're going to have 4 lines all on an upslant. Okay. So, so write on an upslant, what's WHAT'. Okay. Next line on an upslant, your.
Yeah.
Next line on an upslant, jigsaw. Next
Mm.
line on an upslant, piece. Question mark. What's your jigsaw piece?
Yeah, that's good.
Boom. Okay,
That,
now let's just play for a second because see, you already have a passionate belief around this.
yeah.
You already are going to the zeitgeist over on the left where people feel overwhelmed, hopeless, helpless. The problems are too big. It's too late. There's nothing I can do. And you already have a quote and a story from Holly Eva over on the right of a signature story, an origin story.
Yeah.
Start with where you begin to care, where you got crystal clear.
Yeah.
And then I think about all the organizations you work with and about teams and about working within a company. And maybe they got big problems. Maybe, they got competitors. Maybe they're losing market share. Maybe they're whatever. The question is, though, is like, do you believe I am one? And I am still one.
Mm.
Do you believe, that there is a jigsaw puzzle here comprised of many components and pieces,
Yeah.
and that our role and goal is to find out our piece
Yeah.
and how it can be combined with the others to create a big picture, right? I mean, you run with that. What do you think?
Which bit do you want? 100% I believe in that, like that. And I teach it all the time. And I teach it with vigor. Do you know, like, God, find your peace, So yes, I 100% believe in that. And as you're talking, I'm thinking, holy shit, how did I even overlook all this? And I think this is, for everyone listening, this is something that Sam does so well. And you've just seen this. I didn't even I guess, realize that while I knew all these pieces were sitting in me, there's no way I even ever connected those dots to go, shit, write a book about that. And I love this. I love this.
Okay, Karen, here are next steps, because as you said, we're pragmatists, right?
Right, yeah.
After our podcast, you're going to go to your website, and under speaking and your presentation topics, you're going to add what's your jigsaw piece, right?
Okay.
And here's why, is that, as you know, we both have an opportunity to speak for a lot of organizations, summits, conferences, etc. Meeting planners and decision makers are often not a prophet in their own land, right?
Yep.
They have a message they want to get across to their association members or to their employees, and yet maybe the employees aren't listening to, management.
Yeah.
So to bring in a speaker, I see you as an opening keynoter because this is such a thought-provoking, profound, enlightening, inspiring talk. Is that, especially once again, some people feel, quote unquote, the world is going to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah.
And if we buy into that, that serves no good purpose. That doesn't help. What helps is for someone who, with vigor and passionate congruence and belief, comes in and tells a true story about how you came to get crystal clear about this. This is crystal clear why you're here. And what a privilege it is for you to have an opportunity to have this interactive session with people in the room where they get crystal clear why they're here. What is their jigsaw puzzle piece? What is your jigsaw piece? Jigsaw puzzle piece, maybe 5, yeah. But in the room, for them to re-clarify and recommit that they can make a difference and that they can matter, and that your process of helping them identify and clarify that, and then decide how they're going to act on it. Now, that would be a great opening keynote.
It would, wouldn't it? It would be fun. It would be a lot of fun. And I was just thinking, I keep saying, I was thinking as you're saying that, I am still listening to you. I'm not just waiting for my spot. But, I was thinking of all of the one things that I've done, like that, the founding the not-for-profit, writing this book, writing that book, setting up the girls with hammers, setting up so many one things that I've done, that when we're talking about I'm only one, but still I'm one, and what is it that I bring, it's so much evidence in all that, that I'm not just up there talking. I've done, and I don't have any degree in any of those things. It's just passion. It's a desire to change something. So, wow. Okay, so you've got me busy, haven't you? Maybe that's why I put off getting you on. Oh, this is fantastic. Any more steps I need to take?
Yeah. So after our call, you're going to go to GoDaddy, or you're going to go to Bluehost, whatever domain, and you're going to get the domain. And for anyone who comes up with a title, and if you think, I could write a book about that, I believe in it, I've got some IP around it, some stories, some steps around it, etc., I could speak on this. This is needed in the marketplace. People will pay for this because it has bottom line value to it, emotional and financial need. And so if you think it has that, go to GoDaddy, or I'm not getting a commission from them, Bluehost, whatever. And often you can get it for $12. Yeah. And if you get it for $12, now you just have a domain name. You have proof of first commercial use. Yeah. Now you can start developing, okay, what would be the steps to this? I think, I work with people on their TED Talks or South by Southwest Talks, is like, if I had only 10 minutes to speak on this, what would be my aha story, my start with where story? What would be the pushback, the adversity? What would be my action? And you could run with this right now. There's no barriers to entry to creativity.
No, I know. And I do have a stack of URLs, websites. What do you call it? URLs, aren't they? Yeah, I've got a
domains.
Yep. Domains. I've got a stack that in my little back pocket, because one day now. Do you want to say anything on that, any more on this? Because I just had the perfect segue right then to say one day, and then we talk about someday.
Okay. Well, let's segue. Let's go with the flow. So what would you say?
Only if you've got nothing else to say on that topic.
No, Karen, we have lots more we can say, and so that's enough for there now. So I bet something else is top of mind, top of heart. Let's run with that.
Well, before we do, I just want to say one thing. I did say, I've got something else to say on Jack of all trades. I looked up, because I thought, right, I'm going to talk to Sam about this. I'm going to bring this up in this podcast about after your post about riches in the niches. And then I looked it up. And do you know what the full saying is? That most people say the saying is a jack of all trades, master of none. But I looked it up, and the full saying is a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. Who said that? Oh, God. Now, I didn't do that much. But I looked it up. You can go, I can find out for you, but I looked it up and thought, wow, oftentimes better than a master of one. Wow.
And see, I know you and I are careful of absolutes, right? I mean, if you're having brain surgery, you probably want to work with a neurosurgeon, right? So maybe not a GP.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So there are exceptions to that rule. And I know you and I both believe in what's a fit for you, what lights you up. I'll give another example. I've got one son who is a serial entrepreneur, Andrew, Dreams for Kids, DC, and then Tribute, which is his company now, and then Junto, etc. I've got one son who works for NASA, and he wants to be in the space industry. He is completely content and complete and fulfilled doing that. Within the space industry, he likes doing different things, but he really has complete clarity. That's his ikigai. You had talked about what wakes you up in the morning, looking forward to something. What is a meaningful purpose that drives your days? So he is more of a pick a lane kind of person. Yeah. And, Andrew's more of a Renaissance person, as am I.
I love it. I'll just open up Ikigai just then. Sam said that if you're not familiar with that, it is what do you love? What are you good at? What does the world need, and what can you get paid for? So, and if you can get the center of all of those, that Venn diagram, all matching up, what is in the center that you can do that brings you love it, you're good at, the world needs, and that you'll get paid for. So I love that. Apparently that's
I'm being called to share a little story because so I'll give you an example. Sometimes because there's pushback, especially when I used to do confidence workshops in University of Hawaii, and we would meet over several times. And I got real world pushback. I tried that, it didn't work. And so I got to kick the tires of my techniques. And, I spoke one time on Someday for an association of orthodontists. Now, you may know that orthodontists have one of the highest depression suicide rates of any profession. Yep. And over on the left, why? It's because many of them became that because their dads were dentists or orthodontists. It's because it's a lucrative profession. It's because they wanted to be a doctor, and you can always pay the bills if you're an orthodontist or a dentist. So many of them went into this industry with neck up reasons, right? Mm-hmm. Many of them loved sports or loved horses or loved singing or loved painting. And they were told that will not pay the bills. Time to grow up, get serious, and get a real job, right? And as a result, there they are in their 40s and 50s and 60s feeling locked in. They have several offices sometimes. They have a whole business. They have, they're still paying off college debt if they're young, or they are paying off very expensive equipment. So many of them feel locked in. And I was talking about Someday, about getting crystal clear why we're here and bringing more of it into our life now, not later, because now is the new later. And I will always remember there was a gentleman who had wanted to be an astronomer, and his dad was a dentist. So he was like preordained. He was going to be a dentist or an orthodontist, and he had an office, a lot of people depending on him. And he got up and he told a story about how, years before he had wanted to quit, and it just wasn't an option. He had 3 kids in college, etc. So he did some research. And he lived in Northern California, and he found out that the UC Berkeley not only had an observatory on campus, but they had astronomy classes that were open to the public. Wow. And that some of their famous astronomers gave public courses. And once every month, he drove to Berkeley and took one of those classes. And part of the privilege, if you do it for a while, is that you get access to the observatory, and you get to. And he said it kept him sane. It was a compromise he could live with, right? And so, you and I always understand there are real life circumstances. There are single moms, and they're going, well, good for you. I don't have the freedom to do this, Yeah. I don't have the freedom to do what lights me up. So we keep our feet grounded in the real world. And maybe like that orthodontist, we can say, all right, I'm going to be responsible. I've got obligations. I'm going to take care of them. And I am going to get creative, and I'm going to figure out what will keep the light on in my eyes so that I can make my life more of what I want it to be now and not someday.
Yeah. And you've got the book. It's perfect segue. Quick, you've got that book right behind you. I've got the book here. It's great. I was just in it. It's about 10 life hacks for anyone listening. I won't go through them all just for a time reason, but get the book. But it starts with evaluate your happiness history. And, and number 2, generate a today, not a someday dream. And I think you're really hitting on it there, that happiness seems to slip off the cards. That someday you talk about, I'm really big on talking about life's too short, and I often reference that back to my sister who lost her life at 33 to cancer. And I think, why do we, I know some things we have to put off, like some things we just can't do immediately, but the things that we can do, and we can find time, and they bring us passion and they bring joy. We don't put our happiness first. We're shockers at that, and sad.
Well, okay, Karen, we're pragmatists. Everybody, fresh piece of paper.
God, I love you, Sam.
Okay, now
no
draw
downtime
a box.
Sam. Okay.
Draw a box on your notes.
Box.
Take up half the page.
Yep.
Okay, now divide it into 4 squares. So vertical line down the center, horizontal line. So you got 4 squares, all right?
Yep.
Okay, put a little 1 in top left box. Put the number 1 in the top left box.
Yep.
Put a little number 2 on the top right box. Okay.
Yep.
Put a little number 3 in the lower left box.
Yep.
Put a little number 4 in the lower right box. All right.
Yep.
Okay. Now on top of box 1, put the word doing, D-O-I-N-G.
Yep.
On the top of the right box, put not doing.
Yep.
Now to the left of box 1, put want to.
Yep.
And to the left of box 3, put don't want to. Now, this is the today, not someday box. So we're going to play word association game. And I really hope everyone does this. It's going to take 2 minutes. And boy, the epiphanies are just going to be right, left, right, left. Okay.
Yep.
So in box number 1 right now, start writing down what are you doing in your life that you want to. Ready, go. And I'm just going to prompt. Maybe you're walking your dog every morning, you want to. Maybe you're living on a ranch and you want to. Maybe you are running Girls with Hammers and you want to. Yep. Maybe you are working out every morning and you want to.
Yep.
Maybe you are, okay, so what are you doing in your life that you want to?
Yep.
All right. Now go over to box 2. What are you not doing that you want to? Maybe you are not meeting people or dating. Maybe you are not eating right. You're not doing it and you want to. Maybe you are not traveling. Maybe you want to have adventures and go new places and you want to. Maybe you are not writing a book and you want to, or starting your own business. Okay. Now come down to box 3. What are you doing that you don't want to? Maybe you're working 80 hours a week and you don't want to. Maybe you and your spouse are arguing and fighting and you don't want to. Maybe you're spending too much time on social media and you don't want to. Maybe you're binging on TV and you don't want to. Maybe you're commuting 2 hours every day and you don't want to.
Yeah.
All right. Now you see this one coming. Go over to box 4. What are you not doing and you don't want to? Now I know that's a double negative, but maybe you used to smoke and you quit and you're not doing it anymore. You don't want to.
Yeah.
Or maybe you used to have like a friend of mine, she and her husband used to have a glass of wine every night after dinner, but then it became 2 glasses of wine. And then they would sit home on the couch instead of going out on date night and so forth, right? And so it's like now they quit. They got rid of the wine. They stopped their subscription, even though it's keto wine and so forth. And it's completely changed their energy and their affection for each other.
Yeah.
So now, Karen, circle what's in box 1 and in box 4. Everybody circle your answers in box 1 and 4. Okay, that's what's right with your life.
Yep.
That's what's contributing to your quality of life, right? You've got the answers to the test, right?
Yep.
All right, now circle what's in box 2 and 3. Those are regrets waiting to happen.
Yep.
Now, here is a very important question. Have you ever flown into Washington, D.C. by any chance?
No.
Okay. So maybe some people have, and there's Dulles Airport, where a gentleman named Dulles, John Foster Dulles, said, the question is not whether we have problems. The question is whether we have the same problems we had last year.
Oh, that's good.
So write down 2 words. How long? How long have I been doing these things I don't want to do? How long have I not been doing the things I want to do? And part, Karen, of the Someday book and my Someday programs is pick one thing.
Yep.
Just one thing.
Yeah.
Because if we can change one thing, we feel we have agency over our life. It's what the orthodontist did. He couldn't sell his business. He couldn't quit his career. He did one thing, and it compensated for the rest of it that was not in alignment with what he wanted. So what are your thoughts about that, Karen?
My thoughts might surprise you, actually. I have been using your happiness box for the last 2 years with all of the people that I work with. and you get credited. Don't worry, your name is right at the top of the page. And I love that, and exactly what the real big point that I make out of it is, and I say the same as you, but boxes 1 and 2 are contributing to well-being. Boxes 2 and 3 are compromising your well-being. And I give a lot more talk on why would you do that? Like we haven't got time to be compromising our well-being, and also to show that where they think they don't have choice in their life, they have a lot of choice, and that they're already making it. And the power of box 4, because most people do exactly what you said. You think it's a double negative. You think it's what the hell am I doing with this? And once they see the power of box 4, they're like, man, I really do have a lot of agency. And so I have been using this for a couple of years and absolutely love it. And I talk about you, and it is such a powerful, as you said, people get epiphanies and they're like, wow, I thought I was stuck. And I'm like, you're never stuck. There's always another step. There's always another step to take. So I love it. Are you a bit surprised at that?
Well, I mean, why do we write and speak, Karen? In the hopes that our work resonates with people, in the hopes that they believe enough in it, they share it, and even more people are impacted by it. Now, can I share a little bit of a shocking story about this?
Yep. Yes,
okay.
course.
It is okay. So there is a woman, and I was doing a workshop in the Washington, D.C. area, and she worked for a government agency. And so when she filled this out, okay, so what she's doing that she doesn't want to is she is commuting 2 to 3, sometimes 4 hours a day. Yeah. She is like, what she's not doing is she's not hanging out with her friends at work, is that what she's not doing that she wants to is work out. But here's the deal. We just kept digging down. So she had bought an Australian Shepherd dog because she really loved dogs, and she was going to, work with the dog in obedience training. She couldn't afford to buy a home around DC. So she had to move out to a place called Leesburg, which is more than an hour away from DC, to have a backyard, right? Well, now here's the thing. It used to be an hour commute. Now it's an hour and a half at least. And not if it's raining or if it's, so she is out of the house at 5:30 in the morning, dropping her dog off, who has separation anxiety now because he's never seen her. And the guilt, she's driving in, she leaves the second she's off work, drives for another hour and a half, picks up her dog, and she's too tired to take the dog to obedience. Yeah. Saturdays roll around, she wants to sleep in. She doesn't want to go out with her dog, etc. And I made a shocking suggestion. I said, is there someone that you could give Aussie to? And like her eyes, your suggestion, I give away my dog, and I say, let's unpack this. I said, is there anyone nearby who might really do right by your dog, who's an active dog? And well, her son was a marathoner who lived in a place called Great Falls. He went for runs along the Potomac River almost every day. He would love to have a dog that would love to go along. Yeah. She could visit him. Guess what? She doesn't need to live out in Leesburg anymore with a house with a backyard. She actually, sold her home. She found a condo that's 5 minutes away from where she works. It has a gym in the building, Now when her friends say, can you want to go to the Kennedy Center? The answer is yes. She changed her life because she had the courage to be honest about what was really going on and make a creative choice that has completely transformed her quality of life. And she still gets to see Aussie.
Wow. And see, I would be, well, I'm going to change jobs. So
I would have found a job out in Leesburg. Yeah. There you go. See, there's all kinds of ways to get to the top of the mountain, right? And asking the questions and figuring out what's right for you. I mean, do I really want to spend more time with my dog and doing obedience? Maybe that government job that I'm staying in for because of the pension, but sucking the soul out of my life, maybe I could get creative and find a job that actually is a 5-minute commute from Leesburg. So see, there's lots of different options if we just have the courage to ask the questions.
I agree. Well, I would never give up my dog, so it wouldn't matter how. No matter
I know.
what.
Here, I thought you were going to reach out to me and grab me by the neck and said, "You did what? You said what?"
No, don't worry. I look on social media sometimes and I say, I wish they would give that dog to somebody else. So don't worry. Sometimes I do think that, there's no way I would. But anyway, well, Sam, I have held you up long enough, and I absolutely have loved this conversation. I could just, I'm thinking about the coming to stay with you for a weekend. I read about that and I thought, I only said to my partner, you know what I would really love? Wouldn't have even been a month ago. I said, you know what I'd really love? I wonder if there's any way I could spend a whole weekend with Sam. And then I was looking on your website yesterday and I went, oh my God, she does it. And where are you going?
Yes, I am going to make this very tempting. I'm going to take you out on the stream trail. So you get to see, if you come to Austin and we decide to do a deep dive into your book and your keynote and your next steps, this is where we get to do our brainstorming. Karen, ready?
Yep.
Okay. Here we go.
I hope your internet works. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, that is beautiful. Not in the snow. Oh, you don't have snow in Austin, do you?
No, we don't. But we have a stream trail with flybys from blue herons and a waterfall pond, right? And we sit right here and we get to work and we brainstorm and we strategize.
Oh, wow. I ran out last
night. Picture yourself here.
I already have. I was last night when I was getting all your links. I ran out and I said, "Guess what? Sam does one-on-one weekends." And Nikki's like, "Oh well, so when are you going?" I said, "Oh, don't tell me."
Well, picture yourself here. Even if it's a warm day, we'll put on the fireplace, all right, and we'll sit in these chairs and we'll brainstorm here at this table. And then we'll go out for a walk to kickstart our creativity. And you and I, we talked about this one time. Kierkegaard said you can only understand life backwards, but you've got to live it forwards.
Yeah.
And Jobs said his version of that, you can only connect the dots backwards. You can't connect them forward. I 100% disagree. Yeah. We connect dots forward, right? We collect them. We create them, and then we figure out how they can coalesce into this meaningful ikigai topic that you can write about, speak about, coach on, help other people with, that keeps the light on in your eyes and puts it on in others.
Absolutely, 100%. I'm just looking at your face. Your face is just lit up, and I'm going to be a real wanker here, and your face is lit up thinking of me coming there, and my face is lit up thinking of me coming there.
So I guess now all we need to do is just put a date on the calendar. As you know, what are the lines in the Someday book that is probably, I think, it's the non-negotiable between turning dreams into reality. If it's not on the calendar, it's not getting done. If it's not on the calendar. So next thing is to put a date on the calendar.
Absolutely. I hate traveling to the US. I think I'm coming in October. So I'm going to I will talk to you about that. And if I'm coming in October, I'm going to piggyback that. And if I'm not, well, then I'm still going to work it out. So Sam, I can't think of anything better than sitting with you for a weekend, and your brain, to even just say I love it is not enough. Like, that is, the words don't even do that justice, because I love the way you think, and I love being in your presence, and I love that you've got such a way that you are so attentive to every word, and that you pull out these between the line things that the person doesn't even know they're saying. And Sam, I honor that so much. I can't speak highly enough of that ability you have, that talent. You're one of my favorite people in the world, and I know you know that. No, I absolutely love you.
Thank you. You and I talked before we got on about Catherine Graham and to do what you love and feel that it matters. How could anything be more fun? And the only thing that's more fun is to get to do what we love, where we love, with people we enjoy and respect. That's what you and I get to do, huh?
Oh, well, I can't think of anything better. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna make it happen. And now I'm not going to be able to sleep. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Sam,
What a
Sam,
joy.
Sam, where can people find you if they want to check you out?
Two things. Please check out samhorn.com. My TEDx talks are there and so forth. And about the weekends that you were just discussing where we get to brainstorm, strategize your next. And I hope we connect on LinkedIn because that's where I like to ink it when I think it. My life is my lab. And so a lot of times I'll be out on that stream trail. I get an idea and I write about it on LinkedIn. And hopefully these are interesting current stories with real life tips that we can put into use. So check me out on LinkedIn and hope to see you there.
Fantastic. Well, I'll put them in the show notes. Sam, thank you so much for joining me. I am kicking myself for not reaching out to you sooner, but I'm so glad we've done it. Absolutely loved every second of this. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And see you in October.
Oh, you will. All right. Thanks, Sam. See ya.
Bye for now.